Hello, everyone. So we've got myself and AJ here on the live stream talking about a bunch of different things actually today. So maybe why don't we kick off with a little bit of a chit chat. AJ, how are you doing today? What's new in your world?
It's been pretty good. We've had a very, very busy week, I'd say. Yeah, getting our L1 testnet live. We've had our first users on there. We've had people completing some quests. Our activity has gone through the roof. I think we've had some official announcements of hundreds of thousands of transactions. I think maybe we're even over 1 million now. We've had to do a lot of work to keep things going, but it's been super exciting.
Okay, spoilers already. I love it. So maybe for those that haven't already met you, do you want to give a little introduction to yourself, maybe your background, what you do at Rails, and yeah, anything else that you fancy sharing?
For sure. So yeah, if you haven't met me already, I've been on a few of these, but I'm AJ, product lead for the Rails public chain. Been at Parfin, core contributor to Rails now for, I'm going to say like 8-9 months. Before that, I was at Consensus, leading various product initiatives at MetaMask. And yeah, we've been hard at work building the public chain and excited to talk more about it today. And then what's coming up with our new developer grants program as well. I guess I hand it over to you, Peter. I'm sure people already know you very well, but feel free. Yeah, well, introduce yourself as well.
Lovely, thanks. Yeah, and for those that don't know me, so I'm Peter Bidewell. I'm the head of product. Been building Rails now for, I guess, 2.5 years or something. It's been quite a while, and we've come a long way. And as AJ said, some very exciting announcements that we have coming up in the last few weeks in particular. So my background is I've been working in the crypto and blockchain space for over a decade. I've been one of the first hires at Accenture in their blockchain team, working with the biggest banks and financial institutions in the world, building a bunch of different blockchain products, but also working with R3 and their Corda platform. So for those that aren't familiar, was at least at one point one of the leading permission blockchain products in the market. And so, yeah, also on the more crypto side as well, dabbling in a few different ICOs and projects, and even started a couple myself over the last few years. So without further ado, maybe, AJ, you've already given us a few spoilers on some of the things that have been going on, but I would love to hear from you a bit more in detail about what we've actually launched only in the last couple of days around this, the campaigns that we're now doing on our shiny new testnet. So maybe first, actually, you could tell us about the testnet that we now have live. Maybe also then why is that different from what we had before with the Steam testnet, if people are familiar, and why we made this transition. And then maybe we can get into more specifics on exactly what that on-chain activity is. But maybe first, if you can enlighten us a little bit more about that transition we've made from the previous testnet version to this one.
Yeah, of course. I was so excited to talk about everything today. Maybe I jumped the gun somewhat, but yes, we got our new EVM, so Ethereum compatible Layer 1 blockchain live this week. If you use the Steam testnet beforehand, which went live, April, May, June time is when we're doing some activity there. That was an Ethereum Layer 2 blockchain, and to use that blockchain, you had to do a form of KYC using a bank account, then create an on-chain attestation before you can transact. We've had a load of learning since then over the months. We've been hard at work building the new product. And as I said, what this is, it's a Layer 1 blockchain, still completely Ethereum compatible. And we'll talk about some of our Ethereum alignment initiatives maybe later on in this conversation. What that allows us to do as a Layer 1 blockchain is to increase the number of transactions per second, and also, of course, decrease gas prices as well. And we've got a bunch of things as well in terms of how we can still keep the chain very, very secure. We've also taken away that hard permissioning on the chain where you had to do an attestation to actually transact. We are still going to be having a form of proof of humanity or KYC for various compliance reasons, but anyone can actually add that RPC to their wallets, like a MetaMask or an OKX, and transact just like most Ethereum blockchains out there today. And so what we did this week, it was our first taster of what was possible. I think this went live on Tuesday with just a couple of comments in our Discord server. Everyone was super engaged, and people came onto the testnet. Our block explorer unfortunately went down straight away just due to all the demand. So thank you everyone for testing it out. We then had to beef up the server for the block explorer, do a couple of things with our website as well, with the DApp, and everything was back up and running, and now we're good to go. And this is what you get by launching quick, launching fast, and then learning with our community as well. So there's just a shout out to thank everyone for the comments that they posted in Discord. Anything you did over X as well was great to see. And look, if you still want to get involved in that, please do. So there's been various links that have been posted out on our socials linking to a Quest platform called Fuel. And basically that takes you through the different steps in terms of what you can actually do right now on our testnet. Adding the native gas token to your wallet, which is USD gas. You can then mint an RXP token, Rails experience points, so then you can actually swap that for a stable coin. If you go through all of those stages there, you can then actually get some points on the Fuel Quest program. So yeah, it's been a very, very busy week because a lot of people have done that. It's been great to see.
Brilliant. And I think you've just described very clearly some of the specific features that we are implementing into this new testnet. There's also the details of what happens in the sequence on chain as well for the campaigns we're running. But just to kind of extend on from that a bit more is, why have we done all these things? And actually, we've learned a lot from continued engagements, conversations, projects with very large financial institutions. And that's where actually as a business, we have a very clear strength, right? Many of us have come from banks or from the financial markets. We understand what banks are looking for. We've also understood over the last few years what hasn't worked and where really the gaps are. And that's led us to building, first of all, more on the private network side and the privacy nodes that we have. So this is private chain infrastructure for institutional adoption and for private trading between each other. But now as we start connecting that private tokenized infrastructure to the public chain, we also, of course, are making sure that our public chain meets those must-have requirements for institutions as well. And so the objective then is not only do we have this kind of permission private side of the ecosystem, but that we are able to provide arguably the most institutionally suitable public chain infrastructure as well. And if you think about why is that different? Well, actually, there's been a very significant shift in the market over the last 6 months, maybe arguably 12 months, which is that rather than most projects that have started with a proper public chain with the intention of retail usage by crypto users in a very decentralized, very degen type of way, they've tried to take the same technology and apply it and retrofit it, kind of shoehorning the same technology for institutional use. And the problem is it just doesn't quite work. You end up butting heads with institutions and what they need versus the requirements or the kind of objectives of the more crypto community. So we've taken quite a different approach. And actually, we've seen this in the market now with the likes of Circle and their ARC platform. You've also then got the likes of Stripe with Tempo. And there's several other kind of quite fast-moving, more institutionally focused chains and app chains. And so I guess the point is that there is a strong play now to building the most institutionally suitable infrastructure that's still fully public and permissionless, but enables institutional adoption for use of things like stable coins, yield-bearing assets, and the like, right? And so we have been on this journey for 3 years or more already. It's now that it's interesting watching the industry catch up to that same realization as we start seeing real institutional adoption. And so just one more kind of final comment, which is then what are we doing on our current testnet? We talked about actually this kind of process where retail users can go in and swap between experience points into a kind of a native stable coin and then invest at some point, not right now, but this is coming very soon. This is my spoiler alert. But very soon, those testnet kind of stable coins can then be used to invest into some assets, or actually into something else. But I'm not going to give that spoiler just yet. That's AJ's domain to share that news. So the point is, what are we trying to simulate? And it's very easy to to just do something on chain. But what we actually want to do is to simulate the reality of how users will interact with real financial assets, and they will interact with the value that is being created and tokenized by real financial institutions, and that is then going to be put on chain and made available via certain dApps protocols to retail and kind of DeFi investors to access. So again, that's kind of the synopsis here. Is this isn't random. We are simulating the real life of exactly all the projects that we've been doing on the private side, and how the more than 20 real world financial institutions that have already installed the Rails private software, the private chains, can now issue their assets onto a public chain infrastructure. And that's exactly what we're doing. So with all that in mind, just to give that context, maybe AJ, I'd love to hear a little bit more then, what's coming up next, because we've got this initial phase of the campaign that's been running, that's been quite successful. Could you share any numbers? I'd love to hear a bit more about how successful it's been. What have we seen in terms of the uptake already in the last couple of days? And what can you share that we're allowed to talk about that's what might be coming next to get people excited?
Yeah, so these numbers are hot off the press. We've had over 1 million transactions that have happened on our testnet, so we're very excited about that. And in terms of users, the latest figure that I've seen, and this has probably increased since like lunchtime a couple of hours ago when I saw them, is over 100,000 users are actually generating it. So look, that's what we've achieved in how many days? We have now 4 days.
Not even.
Of course.
Was
yeah.
it Tuesday that we went live?
Yeah, I think so. So look, that's of course quite humbling, to see all that activity come in, and we're super grateful for all of that. What that's really allowed us to do is to live up to some of the promises in terms of scalability and throughput on our blockchain. And of course, this is the very first version of our testnet. There's a lot that we need to do, as we grow the chain, in terms of adding more nodes, adding different entities that can also control the nodes in our layer one, which is of course incredibly important, posting the data from our chain into Ethereum to increase the economic security of our chain, and a whole manner of other stuff there. But yeah, this is a great start. And yeah, as you're alluding to, we will be adding more steps in these on-chain quests. So at the moment, very basic, you get a gas token, you can mint a new token, and you can swap. We're going to start building in what we think is going to be the really unique selling points of Rails, which is going to be actually interacting with financial assets and vaults, so people can actually start to lock up at this moment in time, test stablecoin. But this will be very, very indicative in terms of where we see Rails going into the future, and the real utility that will be possible on our chain, of course, when we go to mainnet. So yeah, that's everything we're working on.
Very good. And I'm also quite excited for the next kind of 2 or 3 months, where we've got a very clear roadmap ahead of us as we build up towards our mainnet launch. And so as we discussed, if we're trying to build the most suitable public chain infrastructure that stimulates that institutional adoption, it means they can then issue their assets on a public chain and therefore provide access to those real financial assets that are lower risk, high yield to the DeFi community of retail and investors. Suddenly then this makes it very real, bringing real finance on chain. And to achieve that, I'm looking forward to what's coming next around, yes, of course, continuing to test and improve upon the core infrastructure, but also to start bringing in very strategic partners to deploy onto Rails that can enable these more kind of institutional workflows. And so to provide all of those must-have pieces that institutions need, so they can really make the right selection about which chain they want to operate on. And so it's kind of both of those two things together around clearly defined use cases, with a uniquely differentiated core infrastructure and very hand-picked select partners that can help deliver those use cases on our chain, I think is our strategy to, over the next kind of 3 or so months, to build up towards the mainnet, so that by the time we go fully live and there's real money flowing, we've connected all the dots between the work on the private chain side that is now connecting to our public chain, and of course the public chain itself has all the pieces and tools required to actually enable institutions to really do their operations on chain, not just to dabble, not just to have exposure, to really bring their business on chain and start issuing those assets at a high scale. So maybe actually, AJ, on that point, I think just to give it some flavor, tell me a bit more about this, the payments dashboard that we have that connects the transactions from the private network side and displays it on the public side. I think this could be quite an interesting piece for the community to hear.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think this is where Rails as a project is going to really shine. We're all aware of a bunch of different blockchains in the industry, a bunch of different public blockchains in the industry, but very few, if any, do a really good job of, really melding a private blockchain ecosystem with the public blockchain ecosystem that we put live this week. And of course, the private blockchain ecosystem has been live for a while. In regards to this this dashboard that we have, I believe it's proofofusage.rails.com, is essentially that is proving the revenue that is already being generated from the private permissioned blockchain business.
And actually, to be clear, sorry, it's not revenue. Let's be very precise on this. It is the transaction fees that are captured. So just be very, very clear on the wording here, because revenue implies that there's some sort of, I don't know, profit that be made and so on. This is rather actually the way in which the RLS is then ultimately paid, even on the private network side, to pay the transaction fees in RLS. And that RLS payment is then kind of recirculated around the public chain ecosystem in accordance with the tokenomics. But yeah, just to make sure that delineation, it's transaction fees that we are kind of capturing, and that's the metrics that are displayed on that dashboard. Yeah, very good. So yeah, if you're interested, we can share the link about this. But I think is it payments dashboard .rails.com, I believe it is. From
usage.rails.com, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So in fact, I'm sure we can publish this on the chat somewhere so that you can all access. But it's a live running total, in effect, of all those transaction fees. So it's a good metric to see, even all those private transactions that are happening. I think right now it's around $100,000 per month in transaction fees that are being generated. So it's significant and it's growing. So this is again another exciting piece for our overall ecosystem.
So that's pou.rails.com.
pou.rails, Rails the Y, of course, .com. So then, AJ, maybe more in the next kind of couple of weeks. So you're about to jump on a plane very soon, and you'll be heading off to where exactly and for what purpose?
Yeah, so anyone involved in the Ethereum community knows there's a really exciting conference coming up down in Buenos Aires called DevConnect. A bunch of Ethereum developers are getting together. It's mainly stewarded by the Ethereum Foundation, but I think anyone can sort of set up a side event and get people together. It's a great opportunity for loads of people in our industry to essentially be together in person, share ideas, and also build together, importantly. So the key reason I'm going is we will be running a hackathon. We will be running a Rails hackathon, which is going to be really exciting. It's going to be the first one on our public chain since it's now live. So excited to engage with builders there. Any smart contract developers, anyone who has an existing protocol that wants to take advantage of our unique ecosystem, develop on a blockchain with super fast finality, links to a private blockchain ecosystem, or even if you're starting out in the industry but you have some really cool ideas and maybe you're more on the product or design side, we'd love to engage with you. We'll be posting the Luma link that people can register to that. And this is the first start in our Rails developer program. So in terms of prizes that will be available at this particular hackathon, There'll be some more cash prizes. But what this really signifies is the start of our $1 million developer grant program. And this is where we're really going to be engaging with builders in the industry that are going to be building valuable products on Rails. And sure, the money that can be gained through the grants program is nice, but actually, from our point of view, being able to work with said teams and hopefully the expertise and the insight we can add into the TradFi ecosystem, if you're more from the DeFi area, can be super valuable to actually build a sustainable business on top of our protocol. So yeah, we're super excited to start this going.
Brilliant. And just in case we missed that, so $1 million is the initial amount of money to be kind of committed to the development fund for our ecosystem. And so this is a pretty exciting time for us, of course, because we're moving in this direction of really engaging with projects. Just as we are right now, so in the case of transparency, where are we in terms of that kind of developer assessment, the criteria, how do people get involved? You mentioned about the hackathon being a first exposure that we can first get connected. Could you share a bit more information about what we will be announcing and the kind of the process we're going through to get to that development fund and potentially even more money that will be committing to it in the future? How is all that looking?
Yeah, so it's fair to say we haven't ironed out all the details yet, but we're going to be starting it with this hackathon, right? So there will be a Google form people will fill out to be able to get submitted to our panel to actually allow you to participate in the hackathon. Simple things such as your GitHub, LinkedIn, etc., and a few short questions in terms of what's your idea in terms of what you want to build on Rails. What value do you think you're going to be able to add to the ecosystem, etc. And then from that, there'll be some small prizes from the hackathon. I think we're aiming to give away in the thousands range. Like I say small, but for a couple of days' work for someone, that's still pretty good. And if a lot of people come along with very exciting projects, like I'm sure maybe there's scope to increase that. But really what that allows us to do is take those really exciting projects and then with them as well, sort of start to embed them into the larger developer grants program as we go, which then allows teams and more teams as well that maybe aren't in Buenos Aires in a couple of weeks' time to actually get involved as well.
Brilliant. Okay, and then the program going forward in terms of if I'm a keen developer, maybe I can't make it to the hackathon, but we will be announcing very soon the upcoming stages of a much more kind of clear and well communicated plan for the ecosystem development. So this will definitely be something that we will announce more information on soon, and we will be committing full-blown teams, of course, to this to both define the assessment criteria, the application process, but also all the way through to engaging with developers and with projects to nurture them through a program where ultimately then this can help their development and ultimately build the ecosystem overall. So that's the objective, of course. So yeah, we will announce more on that coming up pretty soon. So let me maybe switch gears a bit and let's focus on some questions that we've had posted through. So first one is from monkey.ip. Can beginners or small teams also apply for the Rails Developer Program, or is it meant for experienced projects only?
Yeah, it's for projects of all shapes and sizes. And to be honest with you, if you're already a well-established company with millions of dollars of funding, maybe we won't be giving you a grant to build on our program. But look, we got an amazing growth and business development team who are happy to engage with you. But look, if you've got a cool, unique idea, you're just starting out, and you want to work with us, then yeah, this is why we're setting this up.
Brilliant. And actually, if you are a more established project as well, there's more of a kind of partnerships angle here where we may want to work together anyway. And rather than a grant, it could be more of a kind of proper partnership with joint announcements and go to market and all those kinds of things. So there's many different angles for all different shapes and sizes. Okay, there's one from Hokaj. I hope the testnet website can be improved a bit. It's a bit slow.
Yeah, well, I am sorry that it's been a bit slow for some people. Honestly, we had unprecedented usage this week. which is just essentially why. Of course, a lot of the interactions happen locally with a wallet, but like the initial loading from the server honestly just was more than we expected. Hopefully, though, any speed issues, any lag of performance should be going away very, very soon, as we essentially cope with our more than expected demand. So I think it's a very good problem to have.
Yeah, great. And then in terms of any more information around the hackathon and exactly what's coming up next, the grants program. So there's in the tweet, there's a pinned tweet on our channel that has all this information. We'll also be releasing a blog post very soon that basically AJ's written that will share a lot more information about this and what exactly we're doing. Again, all the links to the various places in there will be there. So I believe that's already published. So yeah, feel free to go and check that out, and you can read through the blog after this space is here. So maybe just going a bit more onto the developer grants program. You mentioned that we're going to have this, and we haven't got all the details sorted out just yet. Do we have a view on things like whether the the grants will be distributed in RLS tokens, in stable coins, or something else? And then even other things like what will be the exact scoring model? These are some of the other questions that have come through. There's one from a member. I'm not even going to try and pretend to get this right. Drax pi squared base.eth river has asked this question around how grants will get paid. And then another one from Crab that says, for selection, what exact scoring rubric will you use for weightings and so on? So maybe you can help us out with some of those, AJ.
Yeah. So look, we're announcing $1 million, right? And that's pegged to USD. In terms of any other coin, maybe we can have some discussions if people want it in a different coin that could fluctuate a bit more. But let's just keep to the dollar peg for now in terms of what the actual prize money means, and whoever wins it, we can have that discussion in terms of how that should be paid. In terms of the rubric, though, look, we certainly want to see teams with an exciting, unique idea who are clearly investing their time and will continue with the projects. Importantly, of course, it should have a key problem that it's solving, just like any new products, but then also cater to our target market, right? If this is a project that we think has this unique ability to work with Rails for both the benefit of Rails and that project, then our team are going to be scoring that project incredibly highly. And of course, basic sort of heuristics, the chance, can this team actually execute on this idea? We want to see like a little prototype in the hackathon. We're not expecting the final product, but we want to see that over the next weeks, months, that team can actually bring this to market properly, and that they have the chops to actually potentially scale this into the future. And then we'll have a little look at the background of the team, obviously, but that maybe won't be what we'll be scoring mostly on. It's mainly in terms of what that team manages to achieve in those couple of days, where it fits with Rails and where it can go in the future.
Very good. And of course, more information as it comes through will be shared with everybody. So it won't be a complete surprise. There'll be as much as you can share in advance, we will, of course. Very good. Well, look, I think we've covered a few different topics today, AJ. Is there anything else that you think the community should know before we wrap up? And if they want to reach out more, get in touch, follow us, what's the best angle to do so?
Well, for sure, reach out on all of our socials, Discord, on Twitter, etc., and Telegram. If you're in Buenos Aires, looking forward to hopefully meeting you there as well. We'll have an event, and as I said, the hackathon. All of those links will be published. I just want to call out though as well that I've said this many times. We've had a lot of usage on the testnet. It's a little bit rough around the edges. Please emphasize the testnet there. And I know that a lot of people have attempted to do some of the quests and have unfortunately been maybe surprised that their the loyalty program points maybe haven't updated as fast as they should have been. Just please rest assured though that they will be updating. Sometimes there's a lag of 10 minutes, sometimes a bit longer. But put it this way, in the future, when we actually do the full total of the points, we'll be using a lot of different heuristics to make sure that people are getting, rewarded fairly in terms of their final points. And all of this is on I know it's a test net, but it is on our blockchain. We're taking different snapshots of that blockchain as well. And so if it's just not reflected in one space, just be patient. It will be there eventually.
Very good. Well, I think you'll probably know where to find us. Rails with a Y, rails.com. We're all over socials, on Discord. We'll be at the hackathon at Dev Connect in Buenos Aires. We also have some very exciting announcements that will be coming out in the next few days. So I can't share any more than that, but they are some very big, very significant announcements. We then also have a load more content coming out around videos, blog posts. We'll do many more of these types of things as well. And of course, the big one being that there's a real build up now towards our TGE, which will be coming in the next few weeks. So watch this space. There's plenty to be doing. Please sign up through the Fuel platform and go on the test net for all the on-chain activity as well. But yeah, AJ, just want to say thank you for your time and looking forward to doing this again.
Cheers, Peter. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.